Greetings and welcome. We're going to do a short practice today that is focused. Maybe I'll include a little more of my head in this. It's a helpful thing as much as we're going to get into the body and need to get out of the head a lot. We'll just include a little more brain, a little more head. So, focusing on listening to the body, doing some parts work, if you will. It's called in somatic psychology, as well as just moving all of our parts, and a practice that is safe for the SI joint and for any injuries in the lower back. This will be great for strengthening the core. So you may want a yoga block and or something to that effect. Maybe a black cat, because they're always helpful. At least I think they are. All right. I want to invite you to practice on your radiant self. Right now, as we come to sit, let's bring our awareness to your radiant self. Yourself that is unguarded, that is in its full power, feeling awesome, connected, ecstatic. Maybe even connect to a time or place in your life where you feel or felt that fullness. And just imagine that into your body free of any injury, constriction, gripping, pain, including emotional or mental pain or constriction. This is going to be, if you will, the foundation of our practice today. Remembering this innate sense of self, this self unblocked and unguarded, unhampered, unburdened. By problems in the physical or energetic realms. And good morning, good day, welcome to this self, to the fullness of all that you are. And with that right now, keeping that in mind and in heart, bring your awareness to any challenges in your body, mind, or in your life. It might be a specific one for our practice, especially if it's in the body, which most things are in some way. And since we're focusing on moving and nourishing the things in our body mind that need attention today. So when we have injury or pain in our body, a challenge in our body, it's the part of ourself that's trying to protect ourselves. Since I did speak to somatic psychology, some of this is coming from family internal systems theories. And with that, even emotional pain or challenges in our life, just like the pain in your body, are a part of you that is behaving, if you will, the way that it is in order to protect you from injury, from a biomechanical imbalance, from behaviors or things that you're doing in your life that are causing pain or imbalance. So if there's a part of you right now that's showing up with challenge, thank you. Thank you, body. Thank this part for being present and for being your protector. That sensation, that feeling is a protection and a communication about something that wants attention, and something that's ready to move or change. The theory around this is too that we don't go in with the intention to make it go away with some goal. That first, the body mind, like a small child, like any friend with a problem, just wants to be seen, heard, held in compassion. And so, if there is a part of your body mind right now that you could hold or connect your hands to listen to that area more fully, to hold it more fully in compassion, please do. Bring your awareness to the area and whatever sensation is there. And again, if there's nothing in your body, this can be applied to situations in the life. But usually that shows up in the way that we react in our body, our breath, gripping, constriction, reactions of all sorts. So what's showing up? What's showing up? And greetings. Welcome into this compassionate embrace. And thank you to whatever's present for your protection, for your communication. And imagine your breath going right there like a friend, like a beloved, like a caretaker. Your breath going right there, compassionately listening and embracing whatever the sensation or experience is. Your breath going right there. Deep, full breath into the area in your body, mind, or life that wants attention. And see and notice all the little subtleties of what shows up, all the little details. How this, whatever's showing up, affects your posture, your breath, and the way that you're moving or the things that you're choosing to do or not do. And please have your block nearby and move very slowly to come to lie down on the earth. We're going to continue this listening and investigation from a supine shape for a moment. And if that is challenging for you for any reason, you could stay sitting or sitting in a chair or against a wall, even whatever you need to feel supported. I will be leading most of this, assuming that y'all can lay down on the floor. Have, again, your block in reaching distance, but we're not going to use it right away. Right away, we're going to just lay down and walk the feet away a little bit. So we're not quite in a bridge shape, but more of an elongated sort of bridge shape. And in this way, this is called constructive rest position, at least by Liz Cobb, and work for the iliopsoas, which goes from inner thighs around the front of the hip, inside, and to the lowest 7 vertebrae. So it has to do with a lot of low back stuff. Hold your body around your heart and around your belly. Let your elbows rest and continue this breath, listening inward. Notice how the body feels when it lands. Maybe there's a little gripping or discomfort around the low back or sacrum, anywhere there is for you. Listen. Bring breathful awareness into any of these areas of communication. We use breath to communicate with the body as the body uses sensation or pain to communicate with us. Our conscious awareness, that is, of course, it's all us, all the parts. So we're listening to this part that needs attention right now. Listening with breath, responding with breath. Imagine the breath going in there and just moving through this area with listening, with a compassionate embrace. If you're watching this as a video, you could even pause this here and be in constructive rest and listening for 15 minutes or so, or as long as it feels like you need to be present with whatever is present. And that is going to be as effective as any of the physical practices I might give you. And I'm about to. So when you're ready, go ahead and grab your block. We're going to take the short, narrow end between the upper inner thighs, so it's facing towards your face or towards the sky, depending on how we're moving. Bring it up nice and high, nice and cozy there, and squeeze onto it. And let that be with your feet and your sacrum on the earth at first. Squeeze onto that block. And imagine like you're trying to spin that block out, back, and away to the back body and towards the floor. Just see what happens there. If anything changes with the awareness and attention there. Walk your heels in if you haven't, so that your heels are underneath your knees, just right under the knees. Nice perpendicular setup of your shin bone, of your lower leg bones. And then let's bring the elbows bent, hands facing one another, and press into the elbows and squeeze your shoulders on the back and lift your chin. And find some strong foundation of the back body, center back of the head, right behind the upper ears, shoulders, elbows, hands facing. Spin that block back. Breathe here. Feel the sacrum on the earth, at least most of it, and your heels on the earth under the knees. Again, sensing and beginning with foundation, beginning with that radiant fullness of what you are. And as we plug into earth, feel that front body open. And again, remember into that radiance of yourself. Let's invite the back body and any parts that may be protecting us to be present with the remembrance of this radiant self, this strong, open, at ease, ecstatic, courageous self. And let's breathe with that, if you will. Squeeze your block, root down into your heels, and lift your sacrum, your lower back, your middle back, your upper back, your chest. Keep that chin lifted. Again, let this be very thoughtful, very present, conscious, investigative movement. So notice if you do have an injury, likely if it's bilateral, if it's unilateral, if it's just on one side, that the sides may feel different as you move. Notice that as the spine ripples here, we're going to be inhaling up and exhaling down, that there may be a little wave side to side, that some of the vertebrae may want to lead and go faster, while some of the others may not feel like they're articulating. I really want you to try to find a place where each of the vertebrae and the space between are articulating their way down and their way back up. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, rippling down. I know it's a lot of work to keep squeezing the block and to keep the legs very active, but if you can, try to do that. Maybe you even lift your toes, keeping the balls of the feet on the floor, and isometrically pull the feet towards the elbows. So there's a lot of muscular action in the legs. And you can even squeeze your glutes at the top and lift. Squeezing the glutes will help to stabilize here as well. It's a great friend of the lower back. Strong booty. And again, it's a lot of points of focus, I know. So as needed, you could simplify the focus to listening to the part that needs attention and remembering your radiant, expansive self and inviting them together into this dance of breathful awareness. But as you like, you could add more muscular energy. We're going to ripple up one last time and interlace the hands behind you. Squeeze the palms together, work your shoulders on the back, lift the chest, keep that chin lifting, root into your points of contact, hug the block and spin it down towards the earth. Stay steady here if that feels like what's right for you. If you're ready to, we're going to do a little bit of shifting. So we're going to play with rocking the hips a little, swinging the hips a little side to side, like from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, if you will. Your head is 12, and down there between the knees is 6. So just a little swing, shift of your hips side to side. So one hip point is going up, and the other one's going down. Tiny, tiny little movement there. See what feels okay, what doesn't. Again, it's investigative, so it's not like we're looking for reps here. We're looking for what's there that wants attention. And then let's see, once you're done playing with that, another option is to tilt the pelvis forward and back. So we're going to scoop the tailbone up, squeeze the glutes, drop the tailbone down, let the lower back arch just a bit, and play with that. I know this is a long time up in a bridge, so as needed, come down and you can reset. And then when you're ready, maybe this is not going to be for all issues, but it could be a very, very tiny movement. You begin to shift diagonally. So from hip point to knee to opposite knee, hip point to opposite knee, hip point to opposite knee. It's just a little different. Pardon me if you're watching. I'm adjusting my heavy block, my slippery pants. So, and then the other one, hip point to knee. So you might reach one knee away and then reach the other knee away, going for diagonal action. Again, this could be very small. We're keeping that muscular energy while doing this to help find some freedom in any place that's locked up or gripping or anything. And then as needed, come on down. You can put your block off to the side. For now, we're going to come back to it and hug your knees in. And again, do that slowly if there's lower back issues. And let's just rock a little side to side, massage into the lower back. Big breaths in the nose, breath out the mouth. And then with the knees, pull in, and slowly over to one side. Reach the knees away, over to the other side and in. So we're looking to massage around the sacrum. Again, please do this with a careful listening so that there is no habitual going anywhere. Wherever's easiest is always where the body's going to go. So wherever there's a pull, wherever you're already most flexible, that's going to feel easiest to the body. Because a pull is where we've, extended beyond our normal limit already. So the body's like, oh, well, that's an easy one. We already, went too long there. Because it's not, too worried about causing you more pain. The pain's just communication about what needs attention. So it's like, oh, there, that's what needs attention. Let's switch directions. And now imagine you're squeezing the block still between your thighs. Try to hug into that block and find a rooting of the top of your sacrum. So you want your lower back lifted up a bit, the natural curve of the lumbar spine, rooting of the top of the sacrum, and the tailbone is curled up. So don't worry too much about the whole triangle of the sacrum, especially as we move here. So keep a hold of that quote unquote block between your upper and inner thighs. Squeeze onto it, spin it back behind you or away towards the feet, and then go ahead and extend one leg out as you hug the other knee in. And maybe you curl your face and chest up here. And you could play with lowering that leg down a little bit, with lifting it up a little bit. And use your exhale on any part that's most challenging. And the inhale to come out. And then hug both knees in, lay back down for a moment, rotate the head to one side, soft jaw, come on back to center, rotate the head to the other side, soft jaw, and come on back to center. And maybe a little side to side, just as you like, or wherever you need if the neck is tight. And then inhale and center, squeeze onto that imaginary block, spin it out back and away, hug in, top of the sacrum on the earth, lift that lumbar curve up, and try to keep it up, or at least a little breezeway there. And then slowly extend that left leg out, or your second side out, as you curl in towards the knee. Sacrum stays evenly rooted. Notice if it wants to rock to one side. Extend out. As inspired, reach the leg up. And just be aware of any wavering. Move slowly. Moving slow is going to engage the musculature more and give you a lot more information. So it's actually going to be harder and more beneficial. Head and shoulders could stay on the floor as needed, or you're curling head and shoulders up, keeping sacrum rooted, at least the top of it, and the lower back slightly lifted. Using that exhale in the hardest part. And then once you feel even there or done, come on down, lay down. And you could even place the feet down if you want. And then you can open the arms up and turn the head as far as to one side as you can, pinning that opposite shoulder down. And again, when I say as far to one side as you can, that means without force and with deep, full breath, or deep, full breaths too. Fill them with breath. Inhale and exhale through the center. Inhale to the other side. Pull the shoulder you're moving away from down. Breathe into that rotation. And back to center. Your breath is leading. You're listening to your body, so you know if one side wants you to stay a little longer there, please do. Okay, one more thing down here like this. When you're ready, ripple on up Interlace the hands again. Find your bridge. Squeeze the shoulders on the back. Lift your chin. Pull the hands towards your feet. Squeeze onto your imaginary block now and pour it down to the earth. Tilt the pelvis a bit so the navel's lifted, tailbone is reaching. Natural lumbar curve. No big back bend there. No trying to, straighten it out too much. Chin lifted, press into the head, shoulders, elbows, hands if you can, heels, squeeze glutes, lift up. Maybe hold steady here. Maybe rest your sacrum on a block if you're in a more acute situation. Otherwise, pull one leg in, knee towards the chest, foot to sky. Hug that block, spin it back. That is the most important part of this. Keep that hug to center as we seek mobility. So we're going to now lifting that leg up to the sky and then lower down till the thighs are parallel. Lift the leg up to the sky, pull up from that foot, and then lower down till the legs are parallel. We're looking for the sacrum, the SI joint, to stay aligned right now so that we have this hug, this container of safety, of compassion. And then we're just very mindfully breathing that leg up and down, up to the sky, straight up, and then down to parallel. And lower down. You could reset your arms or come out of the pose a minute if you'd like. Fullness of the breath in the chest. When you're ready, squeeze onto that block, pour it down, lengthen tailbone, lift the navel. Again, notice here that the body's going to want to use the most strong muscles first. It's going to want to do things in the way that already engages your most flexible parts. And we are trying to retrain it to have more balanced action. So keep the hug, keep the spiral, keep the lengthening, and try to just notice the alignment of the sacrum and the lower back and the hips, and hug the other knee in without letting any of that alignment go off, and leg to the sky. And when I mean hug in, I just mean pick the knee up towards the chest. So it's the core that's hugging, the knee's not necessarily being hugged into the chest. Inhale, leg up. Exhale, leg down. Observe the pelvis. Inhale, leg up. Try to keep it in alignment. Exhale, leg down, straight out to parallel thighs with your breath. Please stop when you need to, maybe another breath or two more. And ripple down. Big breath, feel your body, notice what's moving or changing, the heat or tingling sensations in the muscles from the work, what feels different. Okay, so options. If you do have an acute thing going on, you might just roll carefully to one side and really take your time to press up to stand. Otherwise, I'm going to invite you to move from a tuck squat up to stand. So you might step your feet a little wider down on the earth. Hug your knees wide and out to the sides. And we can begin a little rock and roll on the spine. Only if this feels good for you. A little massage into the back. Again, find your breath in connection to the movement. Connect into your radiant self, our original nature being pretty playful. And possibly you roll onto your feet and a little squat or tuck. Again, if there's low back stuff, you might press more carefully than rocking, for example, there, and come onto the feet. And let the heels reach down towards the earth. It's okay if they don't get there. And stretch hips back and chest forward. Get your arms inside the knees. So we're playing like with a crow here. And use the knees to push into the arms and the arms to press back into the knees. Lift the navel and lift your lower back. Press, resist, press, resist. If you're standing, you could come down to wherever your edge is I'll come up to stand, for example, coming up, and then wherever your edge is, elbows or arms and legs, press, resist, and try to lengthen the spine. Press, resist to center, lengthen the spine. So that could be down real low or up higher. Press, resist, press, resist. Maybe you lift the knees even higher, squeeze, press, resist, lift from the navel and shift forward, claw your fingers, press, resist, pull one set of toes to midline, maybe both, maybe your feet come off the earth, press, resist, and then take your time. Feet down, hips back, fingers forward. So half forward fold, fingers could be on blocks, fingers could be way forward on the earth, or fingers could be on your shins. What feels good for you today? Hug the earth, spin your imaginary block back behind you, lengthen the spine out. And maybe here notice, like we did in our bridge, the hug in, the alignment, the connection there. And you could even wiggle hips a little side to side. Maybe play with a little bend in the knees and tilting and scooping the pelvis. Small movements with a strong hug. Knees are bent as much as you need, straightened as much as you like. Where can you be in breathful awareness? Okay, so forward fold doesn't feel good still for you for any reason, then you can always stay more deeply in the squat or come more higher up to stand. Hug in to the earth with your feet right now, push down and roll up, or if the roll up's not for you, if there's a pull in the back, you could always just push hips back, hug to core, lift from the navel, lift from the heart, and come up to stand. Let's bring the block between the thighs. Squeeze onto your block. Spin it out, back, and away once again. Find your feet strong on the earth, all four corners strong, hugging the earth, arches lifted. And then slow and steady, we're going to pour that block down as you drop the tailbone down. Keep lifting the navel and watch out for the low ribs poking out. So again, this is like a more flexible part trying to help us. So you want to pull those low ribs back, engage through the core, and lengthen down. Hands could be on the hips. If this is a compression in the low back that you want to work out, you could push down into the thighs. If there's any overstretched in the low back, then you don't want to push down into the thighs too much because that's just going to exacerbate that. So see what is there. Sink low, ribs back, hands could stay on hips, thighs or arms up. Find, again, those areas of communication, your radiant self and your protectors. Thank you, body. Lift the heart up. Maybe unpeel a bit. So maybe a little back bend comes into that, and then pull those low ribs back. Again, balanced action, using our flexibility and our strength, engaging them intentionally in a balanced way. Inhale, push into the earth, rise up straight, spin that block back, tailbone down, navel up. Maybe it's for you to lift up and find a back bend. Keep lifting heart, lifting heart. Any edge of standing back bend that doesn't trigger your area. So you could feel it, but you don't want it to be something that you're like, trying to get through. You just want to feel it. Be breathful with it. What's there? And here too, notice if there's injury, you might be defaulting a little to one side or something, and see if you can find and keep in center. So the arms up could be distracting from that. You can always keep them forward or on the hips. Notice if the hips are shifted to one side or the other. Try to find that neutral pelvis. Sink in. And then here in the pose, once you feel stable and free of any pain, then you could play with intentionally doing that little hip shift again, side to side. It's a way to discover too, if you're doing that already without noticing it. So a little wiggle, 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 sinking down, lengthening up, squeezing block, spinning back, and again, maybe a little pelvic tilt, a little forward and back. Little sensation in your area is okay. Any gripping, like, oh no, I want to just let the body know it's okay. We're not going to go there. We're not going to poke your wounds, body. We're listening compassionately. Let this be a little tiny dance of listening. And again, you could do little shifts in the knees if that feels okay for your body. And then find center. Whenever it doesn't feel okay, find center, hug in, sink in. And let's lift back up. Press down into the hips, lift and lengthen out of the waist. Work the elbows and shoulders on the back, and move your hips straight back and your chest only as far forward as there is maybe sensation, but no pain, no gripping. Hands could stay in the hips, or you could bring the hands down to your thighs, the earth, or a block or two, or furniture, or a wall, even in front of you. And again, here we want to make sure we're not dropping out, like I am a little bit, through the ribs and our most flexible area. So squeeze the block, lift the ribs, connect in, hips, ribs, shoulders, long spine, lengthen out. If it feels good, you could play with a little wiggle, little dance there, side to side, a little bend, a little straighten, a tilt in the pelvis. So we're looking to find freedom from foundation. So first, we're creating this nice foundation of safety, of compassionate listening, and then we're going into maybe wherever the injury happened or the imbalance is, and just investigating there, listening there. And any edge of half forward or maybe even a full forward fold, if that feels good for your body. And if you want, you could take a few breaths in just resting, holding your legs, your elbows, or your head. And when I say resting, I mean an active rest right now. So we are still hugging the block, feet are still hugging the earth. Because if we just collapse into this, we may notice, or we may not notice, that we're going deeper in one side than the other. We're leaning a little more to one side than the other. So you could take a pause without any efforting and notice if that's happening. And you'll probably feel a default, whatever's most flexible or wherever the injury is affecting. And then we're going to look again to teach the body where center is again, where foundation is, and play with freedom from there as you're ready. When you're ready, bend the knees as much as you need. Remove your block. You might have a block in front of you right now, if you didn't already. One or two blocks even. And half forward fold. Hug muscles to bones, feet to earth, and shift the weight into your right foot. Notice if the hips leaned over to one side or what happened in the spine. The spine should be staying even, long, hips equally level, and an equal hug to core, even though it's hard to do that when you pour the weight into one leg. Pull the left foot or your opposite foot into your core. Try to keep that sacrum level, that hug in. Again, watch out for the ribs dropping out or for your most flexible or injured area dropping out. And you could just pick that knee up and look for level there, look for hug there, or press back at hip height and find level here, hug here. Add any challenges you like, lifting up one arm or both. But again, let that not be about where you've gone before, what you could do other days, but or even what you can do today, but what can you do keeping this balanced awareness? Maybe top foot to the sky, kick press, last few breaths. How's the balance? Core, hips, spine, breath. Feet down, hug in, muscles to bones, shake it out. Maybe a little shimmy in the knees, a little wiggle in the hips, a little bounce, letting the joints go. Whatever feels good there, we're just going to reset by listening in, allowing things to move. Wiggles are good things. Get your wiggles out. And exhale, root down. Inhale, gather up. Wiggle up out of the waist. And exhale and center in. And push into the palms, lift your heart. Hug onto your imaginary block. Spin it back. Lengthen tailbone down, lift the heart up. Pour the weight into the other leg. Reach your hips back. Hands could stay on hips. And again, you're pushing hips back and heart forward, or arms could go out if you feel like you're able to keep sacrum level and spine level. So notice it may want to lean to one side. Try to find that center. Spin back. Lengthen out. Find your breath. Hands to hips, thighs, heart, flying, or hands to your block. Find center. Squeezing to the imaginary block, spinning back, lengthening out, pulling those low ribs in, engaging the core, long spine, breathful body. And then pour the weight into the left foot or your second side. Aiming to keep level and engaged here. Pick the other leg up. Moving slowly, one step at a time in your transitions. The transitions are super crucial here. That's where we default to habits. So you want to stay present with the transitions and try to find even, balanced action. Breathe into the parts that are challenging you or life by protecting your radiant self. And remember your radiant self. The uninjured self, the courageous self, the ecstatic, expansive self. Breathfully, mindfully dancing with the part that has been trying to protect you. Again, any variations you added there, lifting the arms up, bending that top knee and pressing the foot up. And taking a break whenever your body asks for it. In the half forward fold, in a forward fold, or in a stand up, wiggle out, shake out. What's there? How's your breath? Inhale, gather up. Lengthen up out of the waist. Find your feet strong. Squeeze onto that real or imaginary block. Maybe the arms stay up. You could stay in a Kali Mudra, arms up, or you could go palm fingers interlaced, palms up, and press up. Hug the earth. Hug your block, real or imaginary. Spin it back. Let's play here. Scoop, lengthen tailbone. Scoop back, lengthen tailbone. Scoop back. Again, very slowly. If something is triggering here, you don't want to go into it or the body's just going to get more afraid of going into the bigger moves. So stay with the smaller moves until we regain a place of trust and strength, compassionate listening, building foundation with yourself, your relationship to all your parts. And this shows up in relationships in our lives too. We have to sometimes get much smaller and quieter for a bit, listening to the little needs, the little communications to bolster the foundation of all of our relationships with all of our parts, all of the beings in our life. And then we can find more freedom, fullness, expansion. So from that, with that thought, rest the arms as needed or lift up and maybe a little bit over. And this again is investigative. So we're not trying to go into any big side bend. Notice if the feet or hips shift here. We actually want to keep them even. And come up, wiggle up, hug in with feet, hug into block, lift up. What's right for you here? If you find a spot that feels really good, stay with it a little bit. If you find a spot that's like, no, then come back out. And then ever so slowly, if your breathful awareness says yes, just go back into it a little bit. But as soon as we feel any sense of gripping, as tiny as it might be, come back out. Go where it feels good. And then let your breath lead you. Little investigations. And if you want bigger movements from all this stuff, of course, there's many other videos with more dramatic, playful, and freewheeling versions of these movements. But when there's injury or issues in the body mind, we want to slow things down and listen this much and hug in this much. And then we can find all that freedom that brings us into more big expressions of radiant self. So find your feet nice and strong. I'm not asking you to kick out. I just did that on one side, so I want to do it on the other. And root down and gather up. Gather up that listening, this compassionate listening, the muscular energy of slowing down. So in theory, or in many practices, it might be that it doesn't look like we did very much today. But I know that we did a lot today. A lot of muscular action happened. A lot of communication happened. And so we're looking to just gather up that energy, acknowledge the beauty and the power of slowing down, of making smaller movements, of listening more intently. How are your feet? How are your knees? Rest your hands at your heart. How's your heartbeat? How's your breath? Your spine? Your hips? Breathful listening to whatever is present right now. Remember your radiant self, you in your power, your freedom, your fullness, your strength, at ease in your body, ecstatic in your expression. Remember into a specific instance of that. And how would that expansive, ecstatic self relate to whatever's going on right now? Let any stories of problem, this thing that's happening being a problem, fall away. Stay curious, open. What are you learning? What's getting stronger? What's new here as you grow and change and evolve in your wisdom and your power in your life? Thank you, body. Thank you to all of you who practice. embodied awareness, compassion, the courage that you have to do so. I'm grateful to be able to share these practices with you, and I hope that the rest of your day is wonderful. I'm going to stop the recording now and reach out at any time, please, with anything that you need for yourself. Okay, namaste, namago.